Good afternoon and welcome to the Deepverge Plc post-AGM presentation, and we do apologise for the slight delay in starting this afternoon. Throughout the recorded presentation, attendees will be in listen-only mode. Questions are encouraged and can be submitted any time via the Q&A tab situated in the right-hand corner of your screen. Simply type in your question and press send. The company may not be in a position to answer every question submitted today. However, all questions will be reviewed with responses published on the Investor Meet Company platform where appropriate to do so. I'd now like to hand you over to Joe Brandon, CEO. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for taking the time to actually come along to our post-AGM presentation from Deepverge. The reason why it was a little bit delayed was obviously the AGM is for shareholders, registered shareholders, and therefore there are quite a few who would be in attendance of this who are not shareholders. So that's why it's actually taken offline. However, I can declare that all of the resolutions have actually been passed and they'll be posted on RNS later on this afternoon. So let me just jump in and say today I'm just going to fill you in on what's happening with the two divisions. There's some good news out this morning. Actually, there's been some good news out for the last month or so on the number of divisions, but I just want to go through some of the financial highlights of last year. So while orders exceeded 10 million, we turned over 9.3 million, which is an increase of 107% over the previous year. And even at that sort of level, going back to 2019, that's actually over 10 times the actual revenue of 2019 for 2021. The 6 million was a 300% increase over H1 of last year, and it also shows the same situation that's happened year on year, insofar as the second half of the year is always much higher than the first half of the year, and that's mostly due to the fact that it's corporate level order levels that we've actually seen, and we're seeing exactly the same as can be seen just from the recent Q2 numbers for Modern Water, with the 3 million going to China and Asia, and the 1 million. Again, I'll explain a little bit later on where that's actually coming from. So the 2.89 million of operating loss actually includes an intangible loss of 3.2 million. So we were fortunate that we actually dropped down our EBITDA costs by 98%. So therefore, we just missed becoming profitable from an adjusted EBITDA level in 2021. Certainly frustrating for us. And the fact, had we been able to ship those products before the year end, I would have been quite confident that we would have had our first profitable year in 2021. So because of the rapid expansion, in June of last year, we closed the 10 million placing, which actually helped accelerate the order levels, simply fulfilling the order levels, and allowed us to actually hit those numbers at the end of last year. And to keep that growth going, and again, I'll cover some of it later in this presentation, we entered into, in early 2022, a loan facility, which is an interest loan of 17%. It is not what has been referred to as a death spiral, where, as far as I understand, shares would have been supposedly issued and sold into the market. But for us, it was a simple loan facility with a 17% interest. Now, considering that we're running inflation at 8, 9, 10, 11%, that's still quite good, considering our growth rate is also in the triple-digit level of percentage. It's just a perfect financial engineering mechanism to accelerate the company moving forward. So the operational highlights of last year, 3 million in Labskin revenue, and that in itself is actually quite a feat, because when new management took over in late 2018, the end of 2018, we had a 280,000 of revenue. So as you can see here, it's now 10 times what it was in 2018 when we took it over. Modern Water, 6 million plus last year, and that's the first full year since we closed off the acquisition, and therefore new management have been able to double the revenue in Modern Water in the first year since we took it over. The highlights within last year was obviously the launch of the Skintrust Club, which was launched in the UK and Ireland. and that has caused quite an expansion, an accelerated expansion in our UK laboratories, with demand now so advanced that we're opening up a 5,000 square foot laboratory in Delaware in the US coming online soon, and we're already equipping the Fermoy Cork facility to accommodate European order levels as we have more and more of our clients on the marketplace, skincare clients on the marketplace. And again, I'll just cover some of that shortly. And another, obviously, underpinning of our technology with certain, major levels of due diligence that go into these types of projects, an advance of 750,000 from Enterprise Ireland towards a 2.8 million euro project on expanding the microtox range and the microtox pathogen detection units, some of which have now actually been installed and tested in multiple jurisdictions, and we're rolling those out as we speak. So the post-year-end highlights, again, in first quarter of this year, we turned over 2.38 million, up 84% on 2021. The 4.4 million of orders, that is the 3 million orders that went out to China and South Asia, as well as the 3 million that went to China and South Asia, and also the 1.4 million announced on Monday. That was actually going in ahead of the FIFA World Cup to monitor the water around the actual city in Qatar, in Doha. So again, an exciting year as far as the growth. If you take it into consideration, just in the last 2 months, orders for China, South Asia, and the Middle East amount to the full 100% revenue in 2020 for the entire group. So again, we're growing at a serious pace. And because of that, we could see production orders again increased by 39% over the previous year in 2020. 2021, this is last year, obviously. So we're up at 5 million, and now obviously likely to increase substantially. Plus we have in the pipe, our sales pipe is extremely strong, multiple 1 million plus installation bids for sites that are also in the Middle East and South Asia. So even at the end of the year, we had 73 employees. The demand for products and services continues to grow, and we're now at 81 employees. And I think I've seen in the last couple of weeks some more hiring mechanisms underway for sales in both modern water and support level in the Labskin area. And because of the ensuring of our supply chain, the acquisition of Glanico earlier this year for 1.1 million, which was at 5.4 times the EBITDA of the company, gives us our on-site manufacturing assembling facilities for our microtox units and microtox PD. Certainly the microtox units that are going out to the Middle East are being manufactured, assembled in that facility, and working with partners to actually ship those out in time this year. So that's pretty much what has actually happened. I'm sure there's going to be a question at the end of this in relation to, so where are we with this or that, or this country or that country, with respect to China resources and what's actually happening there. They are our partners, the distributors. We have worked with them, we continue to work with them, and our order levels in China at the moment would not have been increased without their working in cooperation with them. While we haven't signed off on the actual final agreement with them, because again, we're still at negotiation terms because of the upgrading of the modern water microtox PD units. Plus, I think in the two cities where they are and we operate, 138 days of the last year have actually been in lockdown. So while we have the freedom to actually go around, you can appreciate that China is not as free and clear as we are. And they don't just lock down individuals, they lock down facilities, buildings, areas, regions. It's quite invasive. But nevertheless, we've been successful, and we continue to be successful on the growth of our sales in China with the cooperation of the partners, including Environmental Technology Division of China Resources, is ongoing, and we're very happy with that relationship. So just some more details on the numbers. Again, I just wanted to make sure that we put in all of the years that we've been involved here as to where we've actually grown and what we've actually been doing. As you can see, the top line has grown substantially, exponentially each year, and our losses have actually reduced every single year. So we're well on target with our growth rate as we stand. And the total loss for the year, as I said a little bit earlier, includes an intangible loss of 3.2 million, which was not cash out of the actual company. It is actually intangibles written down because of the number of acquisitions that we've done over the last 3 years. And as you can see, our employee levels were at 73 at the beginning of the year. We're now at 81 and likely to be 85 before the end of August. On our balance sheet, again, you can see the actual support levels that we have. When we actually got hold of this back in 2018, it was the total equity was negative at that point in time. Current liabilities certainly exceeded our current assets, and it was a complete turnaround from something that felt really, really hard to actually to work with. But nevertheless, Labskin itself was the diamond within the organization, and it has now proved to be quite a valuable part of the actual company. And I'm going to discuss now a little bit about Labskin and Skintrust and where we are. And this is really important, and it's one of the reasons why the RNS went out actually this morning. I just want to go through some of the details here. So we have been asked many, many times to issue KPIs about what's actually happening, and we've been so enthusiastic because obviously we could see inside what was actually happening, but we couldn't. We needed a number of months to pull together the data that would actually show our shareholders and pretty much all the stakeholders, employees, debt providers, banks, lease facilities, and rental of our laboratories, what was actually happening and why we're growing at such a pace. So 38,000 kits have been issued and samples actually been taken, and it's resulted in 27,000 club members. Now, this is actually from the beginning of this year. So bearing in mind that, and I'll show you a little bit later, that the difference between 20,000, which we had said quite recently, and 7,000 is such that that's just last month. It has now become I won't say a runaway train, but it's certainly become an unstoppable growth trajectory for the company. And 7,000 club members, I'll put it in perspective. There's a recent article that actually was out about with Unilever having spent 15 years building up 12,000 skin microbiome samples over that year, over that 15 year, to actually give them a substantial database for their skin microbiome projects. We did 7,000 in a month. We did 14,000 in 2 months, just under 14,000 in 2 months. And likely this month of July will further increase that. So that gives you the rate of growth of what it is that we're actually achieving here. And of those, that data is so valuable to us. We can actually tell that 42.5% actually do have skin conditions. 24 skincare clients have joined the marketplace since January. Now, we only launched it in pretty much in January. What it has actually provided the skincare client ecosystem is an entirely new way of selling, a new platform to sell, and a new way to expand their marketing in different territories that they never would have actually considered, because the cost from a marketing perspective is actually so great for them to spread outside of their niche markets. And they are all skin microbiome companies themselves. Now, that has given us 300 plus products on our marketplace. There's another 200 products to be added shortly. Again, we're finding it almost impossible at the moment to actually keep up with the demand for products that have to be put onto the marketplace. 82% of those club members who have received their results since the end of March, because we actually did a January to the end of February test run with 1,500 different customers. Since March, 82% of those have actually purchased recommendations. And if you just go back to 2 previous RNSs, we announced that we have generated £1 million, a little over £1 million now from the revenues received through the Skintrust Club. It's proven itself quite robust in the process, which is why like the dominoes have started to fall as far as the number of skincare clients that want to join the marketplace. And also you can see feedback coming through, even on the social media, of people saying that they've actually found the results quite substantial and have changed the way that they've actually done their skin. 84,000 visits to the site per month and growing. What does that really actually mean? 7,000 have actually were just the month before. So even the actual trajectory of people landing on our site is actually growing at such a fast pace, and 80% is through the mobile. So that the whole system is actually being designed with the app and the mobile phone system. And it's unique in what we're actually saying that we deliver in our results. We give the consumer 1,700 points that we detect about their skin to tell them everything that there is about what the conditions of their skin. The last data point on this is that 80% of females aged between 25 and 65 are the core element of our business. So I just want to actually show you here where the actual traffic is coming from. Now, we launched it, remember, we launched it late last year. And again, a lot of alpha and beta testing was carried out. And the UK first users, we have eventually got up to 22,900. Irish and EU lab scale logistics provide for 20,000 monthly users. Now, when we actually put that out, we have the capacity for 20,000, but we're physically trying to manage a bottleneck of processing of the Skintrust Club tests that are actually going. And the most important point here is that the US focus since March, and we launched in Beverly Hills Hotel. Hotel Beverly Hills is the difference. One is a 3-star and one is a 5-star. We launched in Beverly Hills and in New York, in San Diego and San Francisco. And literally we were followed around by quite a few of interested parties, VC-backed companies and VCs in the United States. But that has actually resulted in this 6-month snapshot where you can actually see from April onwards, it started to actually pick up. And even to the end of May, you can see that there's a total of 175,000 users that have been on the site. Normally, it's, if you don't have interaction on the site, you get one session or, literally, but we're actually having more coming back and actually taking the order level and participating in the Skintrust Club membership applications. And this is a monthly snapshot of May 2022, and you can see that the user base is 51,000. That is, by its own standard, quite substantial until you see June, where it's jumped to 84,000. And on the back of the fact that we've actually only started in the US at the end of May, you could see that the US market is actually beginning to dominate the order level. And literally, they're more, I would say, purchase orientated than the UK and Ireland. And certainly from an app perspective, they have just swallowed it up completely and growing at a pace that we We know that the 5,000 square feet that we have in Delaware that we're coming on stream later, hopefully by the middle of August, will only satisfy the east coast of the United States for a very short period of time. And we may end up having to, fast track more laboratory space there on contract, or indeed, we even consider accommodating some of that in Fermoy and Cork, which will be coming on stream as well at the same time. And why? Why is it actually happening? What is the results of all of this? Well, the fact is that Labskin has been around for 15 years. It is well recognized in the industry as a top range human skin equivalent for the purposes of testing skin. That's what it's become known for. But when we transformed it into a consumer front-facing skin test offering and commoditized it to the point where it becomes part of your daily ritual for how you treat your skin, it has taken the skin microbiome markets to a completely different level. And this is just a sample of where we are and what we've actually been in. And I'll just go a little bit further. This is what has actually been said. Now, I'm not going to read all of this, but the PDF will actually be available for download later. But this is actually just comments from the beauty experts within this territory and what they're saying about Skintrust Club and where it's going. It is unique. It is transformative. It is disruptive. We won the award for the most disruptive brand in 2022 from up against 500 different companies, and I believe in 23 or 24 different countries. So it is transformational because it gives power to the consumer to actually change the way that they manage their skin. It's no longer a one-to-many of the large corporations where they mass produce for this or that, and it's on the shelf and you pick and choose. Your skin now tells you what you can do, what you need to do, and what it wants. And then the skin test, the skincare products that are on the actual app comply with the Labskin protocols. So therefore, it is a positive impact on a specific skin type that you actually have. So it turns the industry upside down. And, what's in it for everybody involved? And obviously, it's a personalized, science-based selling in new markets, as I mentioned, at no additional costs, because there's no marketing costs if the app is telling the person what products to buy that are best suited for their skin. So this is markets that are outside what the normal spend of marketing would be for the skincare companies, and why it's personalized transformation into a personalized beauty service. The diagnostic support service, we mentioned Skintrust Medical. So this is supporting of diagnostic for dermatologists, and we're working with dermatologists in launching this home test kit service that supports diagnostic level for the purpose of skin disease. The dermatologist diagnoses it based on the results of the test. But certainly the level is actually quite very interesting from their perspective. Skintrust Club Home Test Kit trial in the wild. What does that actually mean? Well, it allows testing to be done in the market post the actual launch of the product, and therefore the data back to the client of the skincare manufacturer is quite substantial from their perspective, to improve the quality of the product that they actually are shipping, or to alter or add additional offerings in the actual category of skin microbiome. So again, that's revenue that we get from the data that we provide back from the consumers who use the product of the client. And of course, using artificial intelligence on the volume of data research identifies trends in the market, gives access to new products, and identifies customer segment and categorization. So again, this is very specific to create niche products for large corporations rather than this one for all situation. Not boasting too much, but this is an array of our clients that are on the skincare marketplace. these are the ones who want to participate, are participating, and are using our new unique service, marketing service, to the client. This is why it's actually growing so fast for us, and we cannot keep up with the actual level of demand for the Labskin side of our business. And these are some of the largest skincare Labskin clients that are on our books. And we've been working with these for many, many years, and we talk to them on a regular basis. And again, we have to explore, as we said this morning in our RNS, the options available to us to actually allow us to continue to expand at the rate that we're seeing, which is quite substantial. So while we actually are not identifying the options at this point in time, we're certainly looking into ensuring that we reach the level of to allow us to satisfy some of the loyalty card store holders. Like, these are the drugstore corporations that have millions of clients, on loyalty card clients, that are purchasing from them every single month. Normally, those clients get offered special offers on what their previous purchase are. And here we have a loyalty card opportunity to transform all of those loyalty card users who purchase every month by applying the home skin tests to the loyalty card holders, to give them the opportunity to purchase products that are only of benefit to the actual consumer, which turns the actual the drugstore into a hero, because now they're recommending products that are only good for that person's skin. Again, this turns loyalty from a post research of the data to a predictive level for the store, so that as the person ages, as the person becomes wealthier, age profile increases, they're able to actually offer products that are obviously maybe a higher price or a lower price, depending on the categorization. I mean, data is extremely useful for the store as much as it is for the consumer. The consumer absolutely still gets the best product available. The store gets the best price available for the products that are best suited for the consumer. So this again is transformational, and again it's part of the reason why we're looking at options of what we're doing with both Labskin and Skintrust outside. Now, just getting on to questions that have come about. So what about the actual competitors, and where are we in relation to all of these? These are a list of companies that are already out there. Some of them are devices, some of them are test kits of swabs or like plaster, etc. You just stick it on and you pull it off and you send it away. All of these cost. In their business model, you have to actually spend money on their products. Our business model is completely unique because we benefit from the fee income for the sale of products from all of our clients, skincare clients, after the subject, after the Skintrust Club member participates in their test. So they cannot compete financially with us simply because they need revenue to sell more and more products. They need to market their tests. We're not marketing our tests. We're actually helping the person buy the best product for their skin and generate revenue. We're almost like a very large version of a super influencer with an affiliate program with all of our clients that actually sell product through the marketplace that we've actually built for them to do so. So there are competitions, and this just proves that the technology itself of offering personalized skin solutions are gaining traction. And we've actually had conversations with large corporations that have admitted to us that we are the only company in the world at this point in time that is front-facing to the consumer, that has the accelerated level of building a skin microbiome database in the millions, which would be completely unique. These competitors, and I'm not running any single competitor down, these competitors either selling their own product or selling their service, or well, pretty much that's about it. They're selling their service, or they're selling a product that's actually underneath. And you recognize that even some of the competitor products still are clients of Labskin. So why would actually, do I make this out? It's not just on the price, but we've had 15 years of skin science experience. All of the design of our workflow is 100% inside of the company. The multiple revenue streams are not just from the skincare products, there's hair care, skin disease, female hygiene products, obviously the data and radiation monitoring. I won't say too much on radiation monitoring, but it's actually quite interesting that nothing has ever been tested to identify radiation of the skin microbiome around society or people within society who are in close proximity to nuclear power stations or nuclear facilities or engines, etc., in the military. But that's an area of interest for us, and going forward, and we'll actually be discussing about that later in the year. So obviously the routes to market for us are both to brick and mortar drugstores, dermatologists, online retail. I mean, the list actually goes on, and you can read this later on in the PDF. And the markets for us are also beyond cosmetic in wellness, and obviously the data that we sell into the clients that we have for the Labskin in research and marketing, and the marketing for the drugstores. So we do have the first mover advantage insofar as that ours is based on human skin equivalent physical testing capability of ours that is unsurpassed anywhere else. They fully recognize that we're the thought leader in skin microbiome. Our workflow is fully built in-house. And the deep skin science legacy of 15 years and the credibility of all of the actual scientific journal on the use of the human skin equivalent Labskin that's actually out there. So with that in mind, we've had no alternative because of the way that the growth of the company, we've mentioned a couple of times at Silicon Valley growth level. So we are currently exploring options. And again, we will inform the market as to what those options are when we have fully explored them all. And I would very much thank you for taking the time to listen. If I could pass it back over to Camillus, who would be able to run through some questions.
Yeah, actually, the presentation has covered quite a lot of the questions. Finn, maybe a question for you in relation to the process of how products get recommended on the site and the testing or the process that goes through for a product to be a recommended material.
Well, thanks, Camillus. So the products, the majority are coming from Labskin. So they've been tested on Labskin over the years. And what we've done is, because there's so many now coming through for Skintrust Club, we've actually streamlined microbiome-friendly tests on our lab-grown skin. So it means that the whole process is faster. They're still validated on our skin, and then we've got formulators. These are our cosmetic and skincare experts looking at the pipeline of new products and the ingredients that are in them. So there's 2 or 3 different layers of process to make sure that when they are eventually going onto the marketplace, they're going to be the right recommendation for certain types of skin.
And then a general question which probably crosses over both Modern Water and Labskin is supply chain issues or even recruitment issues in the current environment.
Well, the recruitment issues, I saw that question coming up, and it's a good question. And the only way I can answer is we're in continuous recruitment mode. We're constantly looking for good people, and the whole organization is. So it means that we're always out there trying to identify good people, and that's the way it has to be as we grow. I suppose with the supply chain issues, what we have tried to do over the last 12 to 18 months is recognise that our job now primarily is to manage uncertainty. because we're living in an uncertain world. So, especially when it comes to the modern motor equipment, what we've done is by bringing some of the assembly in-house, we've taken control of a large part of our supply chain. We've also working very closely with our partners to make sure that our supply chain is interdependent. We're also after making moves that if one part of it falls down, then the whole supply chain doesn't fall over. So we've kind of multiple partners, in multiple countries, all feeding into the new facility now that we're building in Fermoy or in Fermoy.
Good. And then general questions about Microtox, where it's at. There was mention of polio, obviously, in the scare in London. So just sort of the range of products or the range of services Microtox can offer.
Well, we're currently developing a whole range of new binders. So I think there's norovirus, there's influenza A, influenza B, polio, PMMOV, and E. coli. So they're currently being developed. But in the issue is that as we develop more and more aptamers, then hopefully we will have a menu where we go into a particular territory where there's a particular issue with a pathogen, and then we'll be able to deliver that off the shelf.
Jared, any questions there? Some of them are forward-looking statements, which obviously we can't comment on.
No, unless Adam, no, our shareholders that are here are fine. I would just say that if there's any questions that are not answered, even if they are forward-looking questions, I will state in the answering that they are forward-looking questions, and I will do my best to answer all of the questions within the constraints that we have of AIM rules and MAR. But certainly from where I'm looking and where the team are looking, it's two very, very fast-growing companies that we have now separated, and we're looking at options on how best to maximize the return for shareholders when it comes to the Skintrust Club, Labskin, and the way this is actually accelerating. It's an exciting time for us.
So I think, Paul, that has us.
Fantastic. Look, thank you very much indeed for covering off those questions. As Jerry and the team said, of course, they will have the ability to review all those questions and we'll publish responses where appropriate to do so. Jerry, I was going to ask you for some closing comments, but we've just had those. Unless there's anything further to add, I will redirect the attendees to give you some feedback, which I know is particularly important to you.
No, so, I just want to thank everybody. People have taken their time to actually come and listen to what it is that we've actually said. We've had extremely good support from our shareholders. The markets themselves, I'm not allowed to actually discuss the markets, but certainly it's been tough all around, and it's been tough all around for everybody, not just from a share price perspective, but certainly from the COVID situation. We have our own staff issues in relation to COVID, and we're addressing them almost on a daily and weekly basis. But I want to actually, call out definitely to the teams that we have within the group. They're an amazing group of people that actually work tirelessly to actually deliver this and surprise us every single day. So I want to thank them as well as the shareholders who support us. So I'll pass it back to you, Paul, for
fantastic. That's great. Thank you indeed for updating the attendees today. Can I please ask attendees not to close the session? You should be automatically redirected to provide your feedback in order the board can better understand your views and expectations. This will only take a few moments to complete and is greatly valued by the company. On behalf of the board of Deepverge Plc, we'd like to thank you for attending today's annual general meeting post-presentation. Thank you. Good afternoon.
Thank you very much, Paul. We'll drop